here we are again, another week, another exciting time. We've killed Matt. It's just the two of us now.
Dead.
Yeah, it's a
We
shame.
ate him. He was good. He was gristly, but tasty. Yeah.
There's a problem. I don't know how we post the podcast anymore because he
I
handled
was
all of
thinking
that,
about that
the
too.
website.
Yeah.
And,
I'm hoping that even though he's unwell and can't appear on the podcast, that he's still well enough to publish the podcast.
yes, otherwise we're doing this for nothing. So
Welcome to Multiple Nerdgasm with your hosts, Matt, Luke, and Dan. Multiple Nerdgasm, your guide to all things nerdy.
I must say I do like your background. I'm feeling a little inadequate today.
sorry, I've had this green screen with me forever. I haven't. It doesn't quite fill the screen, but just don't look at the corners.
Oh, well, it's cropped for me so that it's perfect. It looks perfect on...
Yep. I'm going to do a
mine.
different background every week. So who knows what
Nice.
it'll be.
Getting more and more obscure each time.
Yep.
I'm sure.
Who knows?
Well, I was just telling you off air, I'm on a Mac for work during the week. I work from home. I work from the same desk, same monitor, same keyboard and mouse. But on the weekends, I switch back to my PC, and it's like I'm on a real computer, not a toy.
Yeah. And I think that's a good way to do it because that way you can really differentiate between work and fun.
Yeah, and this is fun. All I've got on my Mac is work apps, and all I've got on my PC are fun apps.
Yeah.
You know, including all the stuff for this podcast, including games.
Yeah.
And but just the feeling of Windows, it feels like driving a manual transmission instead of an auto.
Yeah.
You get
it
out
really
of your
does.
go-kart. Yeah.
It's just more comfortable. You got a bit more freedom. You got 2 mouse buttons.
No, Mac have had 2 mouse buttons for a long time, Luke.
They have?
For a long time.
I don't know.
At least 20 years. At least 20 years. Well, no, I say that because actually I think the actual Mac mice have no buttons whatsoever. But because they're touch sensitive.
Oh, okay. So
But I use
very, very long time since I've used one.
I use the Logitech. Was it the MX Pro, which has like 12 buttons on it, and I use it regardless of which computer I'm on. So
Okay, I didn't know.
It doesn't change for me. I will say this though, I liked the puck back in the day.
Yep.
Because I do a lot of intricate things like drawing and graphic design, having not to have my whole hand on a mouse and just to manipulate with my fingertips actually was quite...
Well, that's what that was designed for, wasn't it? That's why it was sort of like if you were playing games, you got a PC.
Well, you
or
weren't
if you're
getting
a
a
graphic
Mac, yeah.
designer.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't
mean, it got a lot of
understand
criticism. It got a lot of criticism, but...
that. I'm sure you could probably track one down.
I technically own one, but Hui doesn't want it in the house, so...
What?
She gave it to me.
No, you're not allowed to use it.
She did a retro exhibition of early 2000s artifacts for a tie-in with a TV show she made, and they tracked down an iMac to be part of the exhibition. And she's like, if you want it, it's yours, but I don't know where you're going to put it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll find somewhere, but we live in a pretty small house, so I honestly don't know.
You would get it. It would sit there. It'd be for display
Oh, yeah.
purposes only, 'cause you're not
I
gonna
don't want to
use it.
boot it up. No. Oh, God, no. OS 9? No. No. The G3? No, definitely not.
But it looks nice.
Yeah, and it's in that, like, what's the opposite of a sweet spot? Sour spot? It's in the sour spot of, like, old but not retro. Because I play a lot of retro games. I'm recently teaching myself to use and program on a Commodore 64. I find that fascinating, but I don't want to do anything in the 1995 to 2005 era. You know what I mean? It's just
learning the program. Are you trying to track down old magazines that you have to code your own game and stuff in?
Oh yeah, I've got. I won't bother getting it out. Oh no, it's a visual.
It is video. People can see it now.
Yeah, no, I'm getting my old codes, and I've got multiple. This is good stuff here, right? This is how to draw characters with Petsky, and how to code with Commodore Basic. And I'm terrible. I'm not good at it.
No.
I'm not going to pretend I'm good at it yet. I've got a couple of books and old mags, yeah.
You're not going to be great day one. It's going to take time.
No, exactly. Well, not even great fucking several months in. But it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
I like looking at the old I
don't have the patience for it. I'm jealous.
Yeah. I've got patience for that. Not other things I probably should have patience for instead.
Like I can write my experience with coding is I can write basic SQL.
I don't even know what an SQL is.
Some of my code is out in the world being used, and I don't know how or why.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So what has been happening?
We've seen some movies this week, and actually, so one of them I haven't seen, but I am seeing next week. But I want spoilers. I want you to tell me exactly what you think about it. And the other one we both have seen, and I was actually thinking we probably couldn't talk about it this week because Matt hasn't seen it.
Yes,
Matt's not here.
Matt's not here.
So I think we can talk about it. And Matt, if you are listening back, you might want to skip ahead.
But part of the whole thing about it is, because we're talking about Oppenheimer, of course, I don't think it's possible to spoil the movie.
No, correct.
Because
for two reasons.
It's got some of a documentary feel behind it.
Yes, it's a historical biopic, and we know what happened. All right, we know what happened. And two, and Matt, I'm going to get not into spoilers for the movie, but spoilers for the mood of the movie.
Yes.
Right? I found this to be far less Christopher Nolan-y than I was expecting. And actually, I wish somebody had told me that going in, because I was expecting suddenly weird stuff to start happening, time dilation, and and he did talk about how some of the movie was subtextual, was subjective, and some was objective. And I guess that's technically true, but it wasn't in any way that I thought was particularly challenging, and I kind of was expecting it to be a little bit more academic.
I like it
maybe
because this is the first Nolan movie I've seen in quite some time where I understood it all.
Sure, yeah. It's much more of a normal movie. Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. Yeah, I liked it as well. Now, I'll say this, it probably didn't need to be 3 hours long.
No, it did drag.
And if you are going to tell that much of a story, just make it a Netflix series. Like, you've got the perfect platform for it now.
Well,
if
there
you
is
wanted
a Netflix series about it now.
Right. Okay, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
No, it is very visual. It's beautiful. The mise en scène they create with the bombs going off and his kind of imagination of like what he might do to the world by creating this thing, and the performances were all great.
And then he's like, his whole thing of like him going through like this has to be done now, but then also going, we can't continue this because
and the conundrum of
this is why I say you can't still spoil it because that's true.
Right, exactly. The only thing you could spoil really is pointing out the angle that it takes, which is that it's more focused on whether or not he was a communist.
Yes.
Than what he did with the bomb. The bomb itself is kind of the middle hour, and it's bookended by this. Was he and that's fairly interesting, because he was banging a communist, and his brother was a communist. And like fair enough, but it's almost like that was two movies. There was the movie about him creating the bomb, and then wondering whether he should have.
Because the whole thing about the communist part of it is sort of like he was sort of open about it, like throughout. It's like I'm interested in it, but not a member.
Yeah, the phrase is I think they say it in the movie, but it's the historically accurate phrase "fellow traveler" is what they say, which is basically saying, I actually totally agree with you, but I'm not going to start sending money to the Soviets. It's like I support this kind of cause of like we probably do need to cap capitalism somewhere, and we probably are exploiting the workers, but I'm not a card-carrying member of the Communist Party.
I don't agree with like this actual.
The actuality of communism as a government regime. It's not necessarily what we want for the United States.
I do have to mention something, and this one might be a bit of a spoiler because this was meant to be like they got so much TNT, and this was the biggest explosion. It's a bit disappointing.
Because they're like, we didn't use any CGI. Okay, you could have. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah.
I watch movies with a lot of CGI. I don't care.
I'm quite happy with it. Like
that's not a flex. Like, who cares? Yeah. You could have made it a bit better if you'd made it with CGI.
Because I don't like CGI just for the sake of it, because you see some and it's just, you could have just shot that. Like, there's no reason why.
And like something like The Flash, it was like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
This looks like CGI rendered on a PlayStation 2.
But this, I don't know, I was expecting more, and I was just a little... It was a very powerful moment still.
Oh, yeah. Probably the best moment in the film.
Yeah, but it still wasn't...
second best. The best moment was when Emily Blunt finally had some lines worth saying at the end of the film, and she gets up and delivers her speech, and you were like, oh, okay. If you were going to write her character rich with layers, you could have been doing this the whole time. That is one thing Nolan does get criticised for, is not really writing enough depth for women.
Yes. He wouldn't pass, what's the test? The
Bechdel test, yeah.
Bechdel test. He wouldn't be passing that.
No. I don't think he's concerned with it, though, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think there was one point in the movie where a female spoke to another female.
No.
I don't think there was two females on screen, except like party backgrounds, but...
Yeah. And all the talk was about Oppenheimer. Like, it's not
that's what it was, because it's about him.
Yeah.
It was...
Yeah. I mean, his name is the name of the film, yeah.
Yeah, and it was... Yeah. So, no, I enjoyed it.
I'll say this. Yeah, I enjoyed it too, and I think that the Christopher Nolan movies that I love the most are the ones that I wasn't sure of the first viewing and then began to love on a second and even third viewing. Interstellar, I was very disappointed by in my first watch, and I can't even remember why, because now I love it so much. And this one might be the same. This one might be one that I don't quite know how I feel about it, other than I did enjoy it. I wasn't bored, even with the long runtime. But that, I mean, people are hailing it as a masterpiece. I wouldn't say that now, but ask me after I've seen it a second time. Surely it will, yeah.
Yeah, it will. But look, for me, the problem it's got with the second time watching, I don't very often throw on a 3-hour movie. If I'm looking for something to watch, it's not I may sit there for 3 hours and watch 2 movies.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But
4 hours if I'm watching 4 episodes of a Netflix show.
Yeah, but to throw on a 3-hour movie, that's commitment.
Yeah, you're
There's no backing out. So that's where I think I may probably never watch it again.
3 hours is really pushing it too, I feel.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the Marvel movies are 2.5 hours, and I feel like that's pushing it. But literally hitting that 3 hour, that 180-minute mark is like, you've got to be pretty confident that you've got a lot of good content there.
Yeah. Because, like, I saw 2 movies. I saw Oppenheimer and I saw Barbie, for Barbieheimer or whatever they're calling it.
yeah, you saw the double feature.
Yes, and if I was going to watch a movie for the second time, I'd watch Barbie, because it's just
I must admit,
fun.
I'm pretty excited about seeing this next week. I'm going to go see it during the day. I'm going to take the afternoon off work and see it, because it's still sold out on the weekends. Like, this movie is so popular.
And it's right what they say. Like, if you love Barbie, you're going to love it. If you don't like Barbie, you're still going to enjoy the movie.
Yeah, so evidently, women who grew up with the dolls know who all these characters are already. I just know Barbie and Ken. But evidently, like, the character Michael Cera plays,
Alan.
and the character Alan, there you go. Yeah, apparently that's a real doll, and apparently people know his backstory.
Yep. There's all other dolls. They're all there, and it's fun. It's stupid.
Yeah.
So
I do know some people. Okay.
Ken and Barbie going through and getting confused in the real world, and which sort of happens, but it's not a Ken and Barbie movie.
Okay.
Like, it's not
interesting.
It's not a love story between them.
Okay. Look, I don't mind spoilers. So
I
want to hear.
Look, the spoilers. It's been, by the time this comes out, it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So basically, Barbie starts having these weird thoughts, and Margot Robbie's character starts having these weird thoughts, thinking about death and all these things, and she's stereotypical Barbie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then she has to go on an adventure to the real world to find her owner, who's having these thoughts, to try and rectify it so she can go back to living the perfect life. Okay,
so she's essentially, her life is being played with by an actual child in the real world.
Yes.
Okay, that's
interesting. And it's sort of like they go through a bit of thing, and they see like the daughter's sad, and she's having fights with her mum because she's sort of growing up that little bit and getting to that stage of Barbie's not fun and all this. Yeah. Ken is his whole life is just to be seen by Barbie.
Right, yeah.
He only exists if Barbie is there.
Yeah.
And so there's even a line in the movie like, where does Ken live? I don't know. Because there's
Really?
Barbie dream houses everywhere.
But where does Ken live? That's so funny.
They go to the real world and they find out it's
That's very meta.
not the daughter, it's the mum. The mum's sort of remembering the time she was spending with a child, and she's growing up and she's missing it. And Ken finds out about the patriarchy.
And let me guess, he likes it.
He likes it, thinks it's a lot to do with horses, and travels back to Barbie Land
and tells everyone else about
patriarchy.
We should be doing the patriarchy.
Ken's take over.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes. And it's about that. And it's even the funny jokes, and it's weird that Mattel lets some of these jokes go through. Like, you walk in, the board of Mattel, it's all men.
Yeah, right.
And it's just things like that. And it's just,
they must have had a moment where they were like, we could be portrayed well and people would think it's phony, or we could be portrayed accurately and let them make fun of us and people will give us money for seeing the movie. So let's do that.
Yep, they went with so Will Ferrell's the head of the board.
Awesome.
But no, look, I do recommend seeing it. It's stupid and fun.
Yeah, I'm all about that. I'm more than happy for a movie to just, and it does sound like it has like a bit of a political angle in terms of.
It does.
But at its heart, it's just trying to be a good, fun movie to watch, right?
Because it's like the Barbies all believe that they've fixed the world and everything's great and women can do everything, and then they come to the real world and realize it's not.
Right. Amazing. Yeah, that's great. My neighbor, his daughter is 1 year older than my daughter, and she's just gotten into Barbie, and his whole life is about Barbie now. He knows all about it. He has to get into it. And he was over at our house the other day, and he's like, "Oh, you guys watch Barbie?" And we're like, "No, we're not there yet." And he's like, "Oh, okay." It's a foreign concept to him.
She's a little bit too young for.
Yeah. But you touched on something there that I remember from my childhood. The moment playing with toys stopped being fun. And it's I called it, didn't I?
Yep.
Yes, Mama's home. Yes.
People are here.
We're going. I remember the exact moment where I was playing, and I used to have like this bucket of action figures that, because I used to keep my Ghostbusters together, my Ninja Turtles together, my He-Mans together, but then I also had this bucket of just random ones that could be anyone. Like I had Mandrake the Magician from Defenders of the Earth. He could be Dracula, he could be Bruce Wayne. It was just a guy in a suit, right? You know, like just these generic figures. And they were my favorites because I used to be able to play anything with them. Any movie I watch, okay, I can play with these guys.
Yep.
And I was playing Beastman from She-Ra. He could be a werewolf, he could be any, like, you know, like it was just those kind of generic ones. And I used to love it. And then one day, I must have been 11 or 12 or turning 12, and I'd gotten them out and I was playing, and then it just dawned on me that I wasn't enjoying it on the same level, that I wasn't able to just completely forfeit the world around me to the world in front of me. And I got really melancholy. Like I got real sad that was the moment my childhood was over, essentially.
And that's also the time that you start picking apart movies as well a little bit more. Movies aren't just
that's
fun.
right.
That's, hold on, there's this and that.
Yeah.
Now,
of course,
I remember
I was just going to say, we're full circle. Yeah.
It probably happened a little bit early for me because I was a year younger than everyone else.
Yeah,
so I was probably forced upon me a bit faster. But even today, like, I'll build Lego. Love building Lego. And then I get a little bit sad because I build it now.
I'm not going to play with it.
I'm not going to play with it when I was young.
Yeah.
The start, it was fun to build. And then I can play with it. I can fly it around. I've got the horses. I can have the whole night set and the castle. So you live out there.
Castle was the best, yeah.
So,
I got yelled at by my dad once because I built... Because the way I used to do it at my house was you'd buy a set, you'd build it, you'd play with it a bit, and then it'd get broken down at some point and everything would just get integrated to your greater collection of Lego and you could just build anything with it. But at one stage, when I was about 10, I rebuilt all the castle things. I dug out and I rebuilt the whole castle setting. And I wanted to keep it out because I wanted to just play castles with it.
Yep.
And my brother and sister were like, no, we want the pieces just to be in the collection. And my dad was like, you have to break it down. And I was like, I'm not breaking it down.
But I want to play with this.
Yeah, that's right.
This is here.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's right.
They're just going to build shit.
See, I'm one step even back from that because I no longer even really get the joy from building it. I find building Lego tedious now, but fuck, I love buying it. I love buying Lego. I love going to the shop and looking at it and then buying it and bringing it home and then going, I'm going to complete this in as quick a time as I can because it's so fucking tedious to build these.
I enjoy building it, and
I wish I did.
I build it too quickly, so what I do is I'll do like a bag at a time. It's like I get something that comes in bags, I'll build this bag, and that's it. And now I'll stop, and I'll take my time.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Really stretch it out.
I can't do that with I'm not process-based anymore. I'm results-based now.
When you get some of the big sets that have like 21 bags...
Well, you have to be.
You have to be.
Yeah.
But God, they're fun.
Well, I tried to get into model cars last year because I bought the James Bond Aston Martin in Lego and I built it and I was pretty happy with that, but I also thought, it doesn't look right. It's all blocky. So I thought, I'm going to just get some like realistic model cars. But I want to be able to put it together in one setting. Like just sit down, put it.
If you want it to look good,
no. The very cheap snap together models, you kind of can maybe if you spend a couple of hours, but the proper ones where you actually got to build the engine piece by piece, build the chassis,
the painting.
Oh yeah, these don't come painted. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. You could throw it together quickly, but it'll look shit. It'll be and depending on and it won't be the right
how
color.
Realistic you want it to look, you've got to do several coats of paint, and you've got to do the gloss coat, and then you've got to do the window fixtures and stuff separately.
That's what I'd love to get in the models, but it's that I don't have the patience for that. Lego at least is
time consuming. Yeah.
Like, if I want to, I can build the whole thing, but models, you have to take your time. There's no rushing.
Yeah.
Well, that's sad.
I know, right? The thing is, I still love the concept of these things, and evidently, I mean, Barbie coming to the real world definitely reminds me of Masters of the Universe. Evidently, there was going to be a Netflix series, Masters of the Universe, that's now been canned, but they're still discussing if Barbie does well, which, I mean, it's going to make $1 billion, right?
Oh, it's already done well.
Then we'll probably get a Masters of the Universe movie. If it's as good as I believe Barbie probably is, then maybe this will redeem the 1987 version.
I don't know if I could. I don't know if a Master of He-Man would be.
You'd have to make it ironic because the whole thing about He-Man, he's called He-Man.
Yes.
Like he's supposed to be like this perfect ideal of a man. He's muscular and is brave and stuff. And they juxtapose it with this kind of cowardly Prince Adam that he gets the power, but Prince Adam still looks like he works out 6 hours a day. He just happens to have a pink vest on, and that's the only thing that's less masculine about him.
Yeah,
but,
that's the weird thing. Like, when he changes, it's still the same build. It's not like he just changed his outfit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. What can you do now as He-Man that you couldn't do before? Yeah, you're very strong. I can tell just by looking at your arms.
Yes.
But they could do something ironic. I mean, not too ironic. I'm kind of a bit over this kind of. We're in Tasmania over the last weekend. I've never been to Tasmania. Man, it's a beautiful state. Have you ever been down there?
Yes.
It is beautiful to look at.
It's like 2 minutes to rainforest.
Yes. So we were in the inner city. We went to a place with cows in 8 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, it was ridiculous how small that city is and how quickly you get into the rural areas. But our hotel had normal TV, right, which we don't have here. Well, I don't have an aerial. We just watch streaming, right? So I just had the ABC. And for those of you who aren't in Australia who don't know, ABC is like, it's the government-funded TV channel, so it's got, everything has to kind of have an angle of like cultural significance or education or something like that. But all kids shows especially have to have something ironic about them now. Like There's even one called Square the Circle. And it's about this circle whose name is Square. And it's like, come on. Like, you're just being ironic for the sake of it now. There's one called Vegisaurus or something like that. And it's dinosaurs, but they're vegetables. And the T-Rex, you know, the biggest dinosaur of them all?
Yep.
P-Rex. They're peas, little green peas, and they're the smallest of all dinosaurs. Like, everything just has to be ironic now.
When you say vegetable, I thought they were just going to be normal dinosaurs that were vegetarian.
But vegetarian?
Trying to get kids to eat vegetables type
That's
of thing.
what I thought at first too. No.
Yeah, no. Okay. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of kids shows.
Kids TV? No.
Yeah, no.
Surprise. Yeah.
No.
Did you watch Dungeons and Dragons, or was that Matt?
I think Matt has watched Dungeons and Dragons because I
have
haven't.
You seen it? No, I haven't seen it yet either. It's actually on my list. I do want to give it a go.
I just don't know how it would be good.
Yeah, I agree. In fact, I'm interested to hear if Matt says it's good. I might watch it. If he says it's bad, then I think we can.
I don't know if it's just like if it's real Dungeons and Dragons, like they get sucked into the game, or it's people playing the game, or if they're just using the name.
Or is it based on the cartoon series from the 80s, where the kids get sucked into the Dungeons and Dragons world? That could be something like that. Like,
is it that, or is it just they're using the name?
It doesn't look serious. But then again, I mean, our D&D games that we've played haven't been altogether serious either. But I'm sure we've both. I have, and I'm sure you have been involved in some pretty serious D&D
I'd love
games.
to do a proper one, but we end up talking about chicken loaf sandwiches a lot.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Molesting elves and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. It just happens.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to Matt telling us about this next week when he returns.
We do have some follow-up news I can get into.
Yeah, please get into this.
I've been following up on the Billy Mitchell case.
Yeah.
It is not going well for him.
Is it not going well because he's just an out-and-out liar and his lies are being exposed as the lies that they are?
Yes, that has something to do with it. Like, even witnesses that he's brought in are not saying what he is saying.
Yeah.
Like, one of the witnesses he brought in, so he said, like, with the cabinet that he got the
let's back up a sec. Let's. I know we've talked about this before, but in case there's any new listeners, Billy Mitchell is
greatest gamer of the century.
It's a quote from Billy Mitchell. He's well, no. To be fair, if 10 years ago, if you said who's Billy Mitchell, we would have said he holds at least 2 world records,
and he still has he's still a good gamer.
So Donkey Kong. And Pac-Man.
He was the first person to complete Pac-Man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But there's since been some controversy because his wins have been questioned. Now, I must say, I questioned it at the time because when he was going up against Rob Wiebe?
Wiebe. Yes,
John Wiebe?
Steve Wiebe.
Steve Wiebe, who also is an incredible Pac-Man player. No, Donkey Kong. Sorry, not King Kong. In fact, they got sued from the King Kong guys at the same time. Donkey Kong was beat by Billy Mitchell, even though Steve Wiebe did it live in front of the judges, and Billy Mitchell brought in a crackly old VHS tape of him doing it at home.
But then later claimed that he did it live.
Yes, and that this is the tape of that live event. But I believe people who were at that event have now said, as to my knowledge, there was no video link coming out of that cabinet.
Yeah, so what's happened is he said it was all set up to cut the card in there to record it all, and a guy from GameStop came out and set it all up and locked it all and everything. Mm-hmm. The GameStop go, I didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
And then he went, so maybe he didn't plug it all in, but he saw the cable that we plugged the VCR in, and he's gone, I don't know anything about that. He also
and just to be clear, this is a witness that Billy Mitchell has called in the hearing. Yes.
There's another witness he had, I think it was the organizer event, so he brought in, and she was going, yeah, so, yeah, I heard that he beat the record. It was pretty quick. I think it lasted about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh.
To get this takes hours.
Yeah, actually, it takes like several hours, right? Like between 5 and 10 hours, right?
Yeah, it's not. I don't know exactly how long, but it's definitely not.
Yeah, 15, it's not 15 minutes into the yeah.
And it was so quick that it was done before anything had really opened. People were there. Whereas Billy Mitchell saying there were thousands of people there who saw it.
Yeah,
and this is on top of the whole fact that it had a red joystick. And he's in the deposition
right,
before
the 8-way joystick.
Yeah, before it was revealed to him that was the picture we've got of it and it's red. He was, I never play anything unless it was a blacktop, because that's the blacktop, the original Donkey Kong. If it was anything else, wouldn't have played it. And then they've gone, well, what about this? So it's just.
Hey, what about this photo of you standing at the cabinet? Yeah. Look, here's the thing. I mean, this is like the Streisand effect, right?
Yes, it's exactly like that.
If he had just shut his mouth, he would still be remembered, even if now other people have beat the record. He would still be most people's go-to. Who's the greatest Donkey Kong player in the world? Oh, Billy Mitchell. Like, he'd have that forever in the lexicon. Except now he's known as a fraud because anytime anyone suggests, he goes on TV, he goes on the internet, and he sues Twin Galaxies.
Yep.
Like, who can easily prove their own claims.
He's suing an Australian YouTuber.
For defamation, right?
Yep. Because
for daring to say, well, is he going to sue us?
I think he may have stopped trying to sue people because...
all respect, and I would eat at your restaurant in a heartbeat if I was back in the States.
Because I think the problem he's going to run into, it's probably already cost him a lot of money, and when he loses, it's probably going to cost him a lot more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because there's nothing that is going to go his way. From even what he's saying, the evidence is there. So, Billy claimed, here's a quote from an article I've got. Billy also claimed that he set the world record after playing for a number of hours, starting either at 9 or 10 in the morning and ending somewhere between 1 or 2. The gameplay video he said to Twin Galaxies was over 2 hours and 30 minutes long.
No.
But his second witness, mortgage broker's chair Valerie, disputes his claim. And she's the one who says, it was about 15 minutes.
I watched
after the convention started. It was quite she heard that. She didn't see it.
By the way. Okay. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So. I mean, the thing is, these old video games like Donkey Kong and Pac-Man and all of those were made to be unfinishable because finishing was never the point.
They were there to make money.
Yeah, that's right. They were purposely difficult. They were purposely money hungry, and actually, some of them, eventually people got so good that the games basically just shat themselves at a certain point. Like, I know Pac-Man, you couldn't finish it because at a certain point, you just couldn't... the game couldn't keep up with the player.
That's also Donkey Kong. You get the kill stream, so getting to the million points, you need to do it quickly because the game gets to a point, you get so many levels where it just goes... I'm not doing it anymore. And
it's like you can't finish Tetris. Tetris has no end. The best you can do as Tetris is to play so well that Tetris crashes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he can do that. Like, he actually can. But whether he was first and him suing everyone, and because here's the other thing I'm gonna throw out there. So there was a film crew at the time following around Weeby for this.
Yes. Yep.
If he and they're interviewing Billy Mitchell at the time, and he's part of this. Do you think that if he was going, hey, I'm going to go do this convention, and I might be doing it live, and I'm going to aim for that? You think maybe the film crew might have gone, hey, can we come over for that?
I'll tell you, they certainly would have been interested. As somebody who has been a documentary filmmaker, if I was filming somebody and somebody else had been like, by the way, I'm going to challenge him, and I'm probably going to beat him, and you might actually end up making your film more about me than about him. And all it's going to take is 15 minutes because apparently that's the only time that it takes me to go and...
I could understand if the video he got was just him playing at home, but if he's going to be at a convention, that's great footage for them.
Oh, yeah.
Because they were, even at the time, the documentary was trying to make that bit of a rivalry. And so they would have definitely gone and filmed that. So,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So that's the latest update. And Billy, tune in soon for when he finishes and he loses.
Yeah, and it won't be long too. I think in the next couple of months, this whole thing's going to be wrapped up. Just talking about finishing old games and just old games that weren't meant to be finished. I set a little challenge for myself recently of playing some old Amiga games that I never finished as a kid and playing them all the way through now. So I've picked a handful of games that were particularly troublesome to me as kids. Batman the movie was one. Because I loved Batman and I loved the Batman game, but it is brutally difficult.
Now I'm going to ask: are you finding it easier or harder now?
Both. So Batman specifically, I have not finished yet because it is tedious as fuck. Like I don't even enjoy playing it. At least as a kid, I enjoyed every time. Now it's just frustrating because I'm like, how can something off screen kill me? Like that is just not fair. But there was a game. Do you happen to know Dizzy, Prince of the Yolk Folk?
No.
So there was a series of games I know they were for Amstrad CPC, Atari ST, Amiga, that era of the 16-bit computers around the late 80s. There was a series of games called Dizzy, Prince of the Yolk Folk, and he was this little egg. And he was fucking hard to control because if you like tap the joystick to the left, he would just tumble to the left of the screen. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that was part of the challenge was you had to control. It was like controlling a drunk person. And
it wasn't like the controls we have today. It's
that's right.
Like it's on or off. It's not a
that's right. But there's one episode called Dizzy Treasure Island where you play as Dizzy the egg and you're stranded on a treasure island. You got to get off. It's essentially an inventory-based puzzle game. So you find items that unlock things that you can get, doors to get through and unlock puzzles later on. But I barely even understood how to even play it as a kid. Like it just didn't make any sense to me. And I put it on. I had a day to myself last week. I put it on. I played it all day long, and I finished it. I went through the entire game, and it's pretty punishing. Like I had to start again, and I'd start completely again a couple of times because you could lock yourself out of winning a game by just going into an area with the wrong thing in your inventory or something back then.
Yeah.
But man, the satisfaction I had when I
finally
after all that I started in 1989 and finally finished in 2023.
See, I think the problem with some of those games as well, and the reason why they become a bit samey, is a lot of people didn't used to finish games. That wasn't really a thing back then. You'd play, and that was it. You're done.
You'd play, it'd be challenging. You'd play a game for an hour or a few hours, then you turn it off and you put another game on.
Yep. And that still happens today, but more people, I think, are finishing today. But, there are still games that, okay, so here's an example. Plague Tale Requiem. The reason why I know this is my sister's playing it at the moment. On the tracking site, 43% of gamers have finished a game.
43%, wow. Is Requiem the first or the second? It's the second one, right?
So it's not getting all the collectibles. It's not like 100%
it's just
game. It's just
finishing the story.
The game.
Yeah, right. Yep. Interesting.
And I think back then when we were growing up playing games like 80s, 90s, I think that percentage would have been a lot less.
Absolutely.
So I think that's where the games start off good and then they get a bit samey because I think they were phoning it in because...
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and when I was a kid, I used to like to find the exact point in a game where the developers ran out of money. And then we're just like, let's just fucking repeat the last couple of levels with a different background or a different skin and then just get to the end. Yep. But also now I think that we play less games at once. Like I might have a couple of games going, but I've usually got one primary game that I want to play until I finish. Whereas that was never the case as a kid.
Now for me, it was... because I remember when I first got my first PC... There was an Amstrad.
Yep.
Back when it was very easy to pirate games.
Yes.
Dad came home
Piracy
from work.
was just part of it.
came home from work and he went here, and there was just like 100 discs full of different games. So it was just,
games,
what's this one? What's this one? I'll play this one for a bit. This one got too hard. Jump to the next one. There are some games I wish I could remember the name of so I could go back, because there's some I want to finish.
Yeah.
But I just cannot remember the name. Like, at all. One
I was like,
RPG game that's... We got to the last level and we couldn't work it out.
Oh, yeah.
And the only thing I can remember, because I was very young at the time, was there was a guy going up a ladder and we could put a squid on his head.
People on Reddit will be talking about that for sure.
They would know what it is.
Ladder squid. Hold on. RPG.
But the thing is, I may not even remember it correctly.
Squid.
I just remember
I hope you don't. This is hilarious.
Like on his head. On head game. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Because the second you put Squid in now, it's just all Squid games.
Squid Ink, Squid Campaign. Yeah.
Because it wasn't about the squid. That was just an item.
Yeah, that's just something in there. Yeah. Well, it's like in the first Monkey Island, which if you want to... you don't have a wrench, but you have a monkey. And if you happen to live in a country where they call a spanner a monkey wrench... then you might think to use the monkey to undo the fucking screw.
Yep.
But if you don't, you've just never fucking doing that. Why would you?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I can't find it. But that sounds like something that...
It was this futuristic sci-fi alien world type thing, and I just cannot remember the name of it for my life.
It sounds amazing. It just certainly sounds like something I'd be into.
You'd ask my father. He was the one who really played it.
Okay, well, yeah, get your dad on. He'll know, for sure. Yeah. I've barely played any games at all this week, to be honest. And in fact, I've not even booted up my Xbox, but I did go online to have a look at the new UI that Xbox has updated to. I assume you've seen it.
I've been testing it for quite some time.
Oh, sure. From what I've seen, I don't mind it at all, actually.
Some people are a bit upset with it because they think it's turned into a big ad, but I actually find this, once you learn how to use it, it's actually so much easier.
So when you say a big ad, it's because when you're scrolling through games, it changes your wallpaper to be scenes from those games, stuff like that?
Games, there's also a big focus on like
the store,
what's popular at the moment, which is just best-selling games, and Game Pass is very prominent. But no, I find it very easy to get to your library now and your game store and the store, and it's great. But people just don't like it. I don't know why.
Look, I mean, if you don't like it, I'm pretty sure it's very, very customizationable, and you can pretty much.
I think this is what some people are upset with. Features. I think when it turned on, it got rid of a lot of people's they already customized and set up their own.
Okay. Right.
Favorites, and it got rid of that.
And right, okay.
But I will admit, when I first started using this, I didn't like it.
Okay.
But once you get used to it and learn it,
I can't think of a single new interface on any system whatsoever that I have liked from the start. It always annoys me the day I have to relearn it.
It's a change. Yeah. No one likes change.
That's right.
But no, I would say for people out there who don't like it, just give it a moment. You get used to it very quickly. And I helped test this.
Right, yeah.
I gave feedback on it. Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah.
I gave feedback because at the very start, it was actually quite hard to find the store.
Oh, right.
And
they were like, we're just going to put it on every screen and we're just going to force you to look at it the whole time.
No, they've actually now, at the top of the screen, you can very quickly get to the store.
There's some little there's a quick links, right?
Yeah. But when they first released it, that wasn't there. And I had a hard time, because the first thing I do every day when I log on to the Xbox, what's the new game that's come out?
Sure.
That's the first thing I do. It's weird. I don't go for what game am I playing. It's is there anything new?
No. I do that with films and stuff too. I do that if I go to Netflix. I always try to look at what's new. Rather, I want to see if there's something better than what I'm currently in the middle of.
But but because of this, I can actually now brag about something.
Oh, go ahead.
I did something that I didn't think I'd ever be able to do. I'm now currently 7th in Australia for Gamer Score.
7.
Finally bypassed 8th, which I thought would be impossible.
You thought getting to 8 was impossible. I've heard you say it. 7.
Now I'm 7. And now now I'm even thinking, I could get to 6 if I really, really committed. Like 6 is still, what is it, 90,000 gamer score away.
Was there something specific that allowed you to get to 7 from 8? Was there...
Oh, well, here's the thing. So I've been discussing it on the Save File podcast as well. They think I've killed him.
Right. Yeah.
The thing is, the guy who was in 7th hasn't gotten an achievement since the 18th of June.
Ah, right.
So I don't know what's happened yet. Sarah and Aaron
got a girlfriend, probably.
Him.
Right.
Yeah, he maybe got a life, but...
Yeah. His wife had a baby. That'll be the end of it.
Yeah, no more games for you. That's the only thing because he's just stopped. I don't know why. But yeah, that's how I passed him. He just stopped. It's only been 6 weeks, and trust me, I put on like 100,000 in the last couple of months. Like I've been...
Okay, we just need to introduce some available women to numbers 6 and 5 and see if we can get you in the top 5.
Look, I don't think top 5 is possible.
Well, you didn't think top 10 was possible. Now you're 7.
Okay, but yeah, like, look. So I'm at 1,790,000. The guy above me...
Fucking hell.
Chin Doctor is 1.8 million. 5th is 2 million, or 2.1 million. So that's why 5th is...
incredible.
5th is I need to quit my job and just play games. 6, I think is possible.
Well, let's do
Maybe.
6. Let's get to 6.
Because the problem is why he's there, while I'm getting achievements, he's also getting achievements.
Yes.
And we're also getting the same quick achievements with new games that come out.
Yeah. You're both exploiting whatever loopholes you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like games that come out that you can get all the achievements in half an hour, and then they release a title update. They give you another 1,000 gamer score, which is complete 2 more levels.
Right.
They're cracking down on that, though.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But also, I'm okay with them cracking down on it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not going to put you at a specific disadvantage. Everyone's going to have to play by the same rules, so...
Yeah. And I do know some people get upset that you're basically buying achievements with some of these games.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, but everyone can buy achievements, so, yeah, like... I still play it. It's a problem. I mean, look, playing that many games isn't cheap anyway. So, I mean, there's no one in the top 10 is in the third world going, I can't afford. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like they've got you got to spend money. You got to spend money on this anyway. It's an expensive hobby.
Although
to begin
I think quite a few of the people in front of me are probably getting a lot of these games for free.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you could be right. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. I think at number 7, you should be getting these games for free too. I think the time now to start exploiting this in whatever way we can.
I've still got this horrible thing because I do get offers every now and again, and I feel bad because normally the time when you get the offer for a free game, it's from a little indie developer or publisher.
Yeah, like, well, I'll happily pay for this to support you regardless.
Yeah, like if it's AAA, fine, you can afford it. But no, someone releasing their first game or they're a little indie and they're just making fun little game. I feel bad. And so I still support
money's
them.
not the problem for you. Time is your problem.
Time is the issue.
If they were giving away time to play the game, you would eat that up.
I'll take that in a second.
Yeah. They'll be like, we're going to give you an 8th day every week for you to just play games. You'd be like, fucking give me.
Thank you. Yep.
Yeah, so I haven't played any games at all this week, really. But what I have been doing is watching a lot of TV. Okay. So I watched the entirety of season 16 of Always Sunny.
God, that's good.
Which was great. Now, 15 was good because it was one coherent story, and I love that. 16 is good because it isn't that. It goes back to just every episode is completely standalone, random. I laugh out loud in every episode at least once.
The only thing that's bugging me is the lighting. The lighting is so weird.
It does look different.
I know why.
They're
getting older.
I think they're getting old. Everyone's got a bit more makeup on. We have to be a little bit kinder with the photography.
Everything is in HD. Camera's not as forgiving, and they are getting. But it just annoys me. I'm okay with people looking older.
It's funny, like every third episode you'll see the bar and I'll be like, man, why even bother having that bar set? You're never in there anymore. Like it's all just like on location now. But I realize this is the journey I went on with Always Sunny, right? Yep. When I first started watching it, I thought Charlie Day was the funny one. I thought he was essentially the main character of this ensemble show. He was always delivering the zingers. I thought he had the most charisma. And then at a certain point I started going, no, Mac's the funny one because he's the idiot and he thinks he's cool, but he isn't. So he is the uncoolest cool guy. And then of course Rob McElhenney, who plays him, started doing other stuff and I'm like, no, this guy. At this point, I think Glenn Howerton is not only the best actor in the show, but I think he's one of the best working actors today. And I can back this up because I then watched everything else that he's been in this week as well. So this is a Juilliard-trained classical thespian, right?
Yes,
who's just
he
found
was
himself,
the actor of the group. He was...
Yeah, he found himself working in sitcoms. But have you ever seen another sitcom called AP Bio?
Yes.
I love this show. I had never heard of it up until 2 days ago. I've now watched the entirety of the first season. For listeners, if you haven't heard this, Glenn Howerton stars as a disgraced Harvard professor who has to teach at a high school. And it's light. It's not particularly subversive or edgy, but it is hilarious. Laugh out loud hilarious.
Oh, well, I mean, he's pretty much playing his same character, just he was a Harvard professor, I guess.
yeah. And in fact, you know those couple of seasons of Always Sunny where he is not in it as much?
That's why, because he was doing AP Bio.
Yeah, exactly. But my brain also thinks that this is just him.
Him, yes.
Just away from Philadelphia for a bit, right? But I also watched the BlackBerry movie, where he stars as one of the co-founders of BlackBerry, the phone.
Okay.
This is an excellent movie, by the way. 90s, probably leans a little too heavy into the period stuff, like, you know, when they do movies in the 80s and 90s about nerds and like everyone's always got a Ninja Turtles shirt on, and you know what I mean? Like it's just a little, but then again, you're wearing a Star Wars Droids shirt right now, so
I am.
So maybe it's just dead accurate. But other than that, that's the only thing. And there's this weird point where they talk about John Carmack, and they say he's from ID instead of saying he's from ID, which I thought was. But then again, back in the 90s. I used to think it was called ID too, because I didn't know what an id was back then, because I knew nothing of Freud or psychology or anything. Yeah. So yeah, maybe there's method to that madness. But it's an excellent movie. Glenn Howerton is excellent at it. He's so uncool. He's got like they've shaved the kind of monk hairdo, so he looks like he's receding, and he plays an absolute prick.
Okay.
He's the guy who's like, you know, there's the brains behind BlackBerry, and then the money. He plays the money, so he just cares about the bottom line, and he's an absolute cunt.
Yeah, he could do that well.
Yeah, but they're talking about Oscar nom for him for this role.
Okay, maybe I should have a look at it then. Even though I normally don't like Oscar movies.
This is not an Oscar movie. Oh,
okay.
I guess it could be because it's got those feel good moments in it, but it's more. I'd say it's. Did you watch the Tetris movie from?
No, I need to.
Oh yeah, you got to watch that too. Tonally, they're incredibly similar. You know, like just. I'm sure it was definitely not as exciting as this to make Tetris or the BlackBerry. You know what I mean? But they make it look like you missed out on a cultural movement by not being one of the.
I will just say with AP Bio, like, because it goes for 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Where it starts to struggle is the children age.
Right. Yeah, because you only ever seen teaching one class. A high school teacher only teaches hour-long classes, so he's not going to be with them for the whole day. And you assume, or even every day of the week, but you only ever see him teach one class. I don't know, maybe in the second season
it's only that one class. It's remains the same, but you see they replace some you can actually go, I can see your 5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah,
I think that's where that show struggles a bit. But some of the characters do get even better.
Okay,
go.
interesting. Yeah, right.
Like the nerdy girl with glasses.
Oh,
she's
yeah,
amazing. Love her throughout.
She's already amazing. Yeah, right.
Yes.
I have a feeling she's 30 years old. I think that actress is actually much older than she's playing, but on a girl it doesn't matter so much. That episode where he starts dating that one kid's mum, and he comes into class and he's like, "Did you bang your mum last night?" He's like, "No." And he's like, "Well, neither did I, because you were making too much noise upstairs." Like, it's so good. It's so good. Matt, if you're listening back and you don't know what this is, you should get on this shit too. I also watched one more Glenn Howerton film this week. It's called The Thief Collector. This was interesting because it's actually a documentary, and he only appears in the recreations, right? This is a true story of this old couple who lived like in a trailer park in middle America somewhere, and when they died, like in their 70s or whatever, you know, in America you can buy someone's whole estate and then just start selling off their stuff.
Yeah, like if there's no one there, it's just no
so
kids,
these
no
two,
nothing.
Exactly. So that's what this was. These guys had this trailer and it was full of junk. And so these two dudes who make a living by just buying storage containers and stuff like that and then selling them off. They bought it. They noticed there was heaps of paintings in it, right? So they took the paintings to a secondhand store and they said, "Oh, do you want any of these? You know, maybe $5 each or whatever." And they went, "Oh, no, these aren't very good. But this one, though, I'll give you $200,000 for." And they were like, "What?" And she went, "Oh, this is a very famous painting." And they were like, "What?" And they suddenly realized they were all very famous paintings, and this couple were art thieves. And they've been traveling around the world, going to museums and stealing these expensive works of art, and they're just coming home and hanging them in their house. Not bragging, not trying to sell them and make money, just putting them in their house.
That makes a sense, because like if you steal art and then you try to sell it on, well, it's art, like people know.
Yeah.
But I find it amazing that like this store went, "I'll give you $200,000," when they had gone, I'll just take the lot for $5 each.
Yeah. Exactly right. Exactly. It's a little bit more nuanced than that, but yes, essentially that is. But then they start getting these appraised, and then people start going, "This is a painting that disappeared in like the 80s," you know? And then they were like, "Where did it disappear from?" "Oh, from a Paris art gallery." And they're like, "In 1987, this couple were in Paris." Like, and they work out that all of these paintings are from galleries stolen across America and around the world. And also they found out that this guy had written a book, couldn't get it published, ended up self-publishing it. So they get a copy of this book, and it's a bunch of short stories about this kind of international jet setter, cool spy dude.
Pretty
doing
much
all this
explaining
stuff.
how he stole the paintings.
Correct. Or one story talks about killing this guy who went missing in real life. And they're like, well, we can pretty much assume that he did kill this guy.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So Glenn Howerton plays him. And like in real life, he's not handsome like Glenn Howerton. Like Glenn Howerton plays him as he appears in the short stories, where he's like an idealized version of himself.
Yeah.
And it's very good, and it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Look, I'm gonna say that from that cast, I will say who I think is a better actor, and that is David Hornsby.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And in fact, he's now got a producer credit on Always Sunny now too, I noticed this season. So at a certain point, he must have gotten involved. But he's a comical genius.
He is, because this is where I think he's a little bit different, like Glenn stuff. Because Glenn, he's playing the same.
Yeah, true.
So David, everything he's in, he's different in every single show he's in.
Oh yeah. There's been times where it's taken me multiple episodes of a new show before I've realised, oh shit, that's him. Yeah.
So I'll say I'm gonna say he's a better actor. I'm sorry.
Fucking cricket in this season, where I think he's only in one episode, but he's pimping out that young boy. Like, go and turn around, show him the goods. It's
just
so
keeps getting
good.
better and better. I'm scared that we only do have 2 more seasons left.
I know. That episode it's several seasons ago, but am I remembering this right, where Cricket gets a girlfriend?
Yes, and
but
it's
then
a
at
dog.
the end of the
'Cause
episode,
it's
you find
Belle.
out he's so smacked out that he's actually just with a dog.
Which is, he's been part of dog orgies before, so it's
Yeah.
But no, I mean, because like at the moment, like yes, they've said that they're renewed for at least 2 more seasons, and they could easily get renewed for more. But I don't think they will continue after the next 2. I think it's just going to be
I can't
they're
believe
too
it's
busy
been on
doing
air as
other
long
stuff.
as it has. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because you know that McElhenney's buying more sports teams now,
Yes.
right? Like he's just going, he's leaning into that.
He brought Wrexham FC, took them up to another league, and now he's Alpine F1,
yeah,
which
it's crazy.
that cannot be cheap.
No,
An F1 team.
No, correct. Yeah, it's one of the most expensive. So that's why only, a couple of dozen car manufacturers even have teams. You know what I mean, in the F1.
Yeah, so and I think their goal is probably to do the same as what they did with Wrexham to get them promoted, to get this team that's, I don't follow F1, they're not great, are they?
No, there's kind of 4 teams that will always win or come in the top 4, and then there's a dozen teams that are basically competing for last place. So
I think he's there to try. I think he's going to try and do thing. They're going to now be the 5th team. So there's 5 teams that are always at the top.
Yeah,
I think that's
it'll
be
be
the goal.
interesting. I mean, I'll probably make another show. Yeah, I believe so. Let me just.
Because they're all buddy, even though they only met when they went, hey, do you want to buy a team with me?
Yeah, and apparently they kind of only did it because they both were kind of friends of one another. Fans of one another, and they were like, it would be good to be friends.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got here, the first article that comes up I see is F1 icon slants Alpine's $1.3 billion deal, Ryan Reynolds. So I think he's part of it.
1.3 billion. Jesus Christ.
1.3 billion.
See, I've got a much more conservative figure here, 218 million, but that seems too low to me.
Yeah.
Maybe that's euros.
1.3 billion seems to
but
me
Alpine
also seems a bit low, but
they're not a great team, but they're certainly not. I mean, they're not bad enough that you would think you'd just pick them up for cheap. Put it that way.
Yeah. Alpine versus so it's 200 million euro.
Yeah, 200 million euro. I guess that's a lot of money.
Alpine secured 200 million euro cash injection from a group of investors, including actor Ryan Reynolds.
But McElhenney
will be in part of that.
Lucrative investments have helped him amass a net worth of about $50 million. That doesn't sound like that much, but then again, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't have $50 million, but $1 million isn't what it used to be.
No. See, it's weird. For $1 million for us is still quite a lot. $50 million is unimaginable.
But rich people... I used to think if you had $1 million, you were rich. Now, if you have $1 million, it just means you bought a house in Sydney. Like,
if you have $1 million, you're very comfortable because you own your house.
Yeah.
And then you still got to work because...
Yeah, I mean, I owe $1 million to a bank.
Yeah.
But, I'm still... my mind's blown that they would give me that much money.
Imagine if you didn't owe that. How awesome would your life be?
Mate, I like the stranglehold of the banks on me right now. It's insane. That's for another podcast entirely. We've got a few Geeks of the Week to talk about in the after party this week. So
and what is the after party?
The after party is if you're not ready to stop listening and you want another 15, 20 minutes more, go to patreon.com/multiple nerdgasm, become a patron, and the ride doesn't end for you. You can stay on the roller coaster.
And I believe we're doing it for the video soon as well. So if you want to watch the video version, we'll send you the link as well. So if you still want to see our ugly mugs, my ugly mug, Dan's beautiful.
That's all for this week. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed the show. If you enjoyed it, then please subscribe in iTunes to receive episodes automatically. We'll see you next time.